Lock it up or take me out to the sun or in the dark. Let me see what we're about, the perfect times anytime we start. Make believe or make it real, what you make it is what you feel. No temple bound to crumble here, trust built on stone and steel. I've got you, you've got me, we won't fall. Suspension or so it's called. I've got you, you've got me, we won't fall. Suspension or so it's called. Want you to know, really, really I do whatever I must. Give it my best, really, really it's true, no matter what the cost. Make no mistake, I'm full of mistakes, emphasis on pleasure with pain, yeah. The other way, well, it makes no sense, and I hope that you feel the same. I've got you, you've got me, we won't fall. Suspension or so it's called. I've got you and you've got me, we won't fall. Suspension or so it's called. I've got you, you've got me, we won't fall. Suspension or so it's called.
After putting the strings on and everything, it seemed like the neck relief was a little bit out of whack, so I gave it a quarter of a turn, try to pull it back some, and usually when I adjust the truss rod, I just leave it till the next day, let it settle, see what happens. So we'll check it out tomorrow, and hopefully it sits a little nicer tomorrow, and then I can get it all intonated and everything and see if it'll play. I got a little anxious earlier and went ahead and did the intonation and everything like that. The adjustment that I made to the truss rod yesterday seemed to work. Everything feels a little closer to where it needs to be. I'm not positive it's perfect yet. We'll go over that hopefully once I get this thing set up, and then we'll plug it in and see if it we can make some music. I'm gonna have to adjust the pickup still, but yeah, that's where we're at. So I did jump the gun and forgot to record me doing a little bit of the setup work on the guitar, but it's all pretty basic stuff, just adjusting the intonation and everything. Basically with the intonation, you throw a tuner on it, check the open string, you tune it to pitch, and then you check the fretted 12th fret string, and if that pitch is the same exact reading on the tuner, then you're perfect. If it's sharp, then you need to tighten the screws back here, which basically pulls the saddle toward the bridge, and if this note is flat compared to the open note, then you need to loosen this screw, which pushes the saddle toward the neck. Basically, as far as the science of that goes, the reason why that's the case is because the distance from the nut to the bridge divided in half should be where the 12th fret is, and when you fret that 12th fret, if this saddle is too far toward the neck, it will make this length between the saddle and the 12th fret too short to be half the distance between the saddle and the nut. And if the saddle is too far back, it will make the distance between the 12th fret and the saddle too far to be half the distance between the saddle and the nut. So you basically want to make sure that the distance between the nut and the saddle is twice as long as the distance between the fret and the saddle. So by adjusting that forward and backward and checking the tuning at the 12th fret and the open note, you can adjust that to where it's where it needs to be. And that's when you get to the point where you can play an open chord or a 5th fret chord or a 9th fret chord or all the way up here on the high parts of the neck, and it'll still be in tune. If you don't set the intonation first and you just set the tuning with the open strings, it might sound okay below like the 5th fret, but if you try to get anywhere past the 5th fret, or even, you know, when I first set this up today or yesterday, it was so far out that I couldn't even get like a 3rd fret chord to sound in tune because the intonation was just that bad. So once you get the intonation set up and you have your neck relief set up with the truss rod adjustment, that will make a guitar play phenomenally compared to a guitar that's not set up well. You can have a $10,000 guitar, and if it has poor intonation or poor neck relief, it's not going to play great, it's not going to feel great, and it's not going to sound great because the notes are going to be out of tune from each other in respect to where you are on the neck. So if you have like a cheap guitar, you can make it sound and play great just by making sure that those little adjustments are precise. And it's amazing how many people don't know about that or don't know how to do it. To them, it's like a big mystery. For me, a lot of years I spent being kind of afraid to adjust anything because I was afraid I was going to make things worse or that I would mess something up to the point that I couldn't fix it. And that's just not the right answer, because you'll never learn if you never try it. The biggest thing I would suggest if you're just getting into kind of doing your own work, if you're going to adjust anything, a screw, the truss rod, anything like that, be very mindful of how many turns you're giving to whatever it is you're adjusting, and write that down. Because once you're done adjusting it, if you do hate it or you feel like you've done some terrible thing, you have the information to put it back to how it was when you started, and then you can try it again, or you can take it to somebody who knows what they're doing and have them do it. But at least if you keep notes of all the adjustments that you do, you know, say, oh, I adjusted the truss rod nut a quarter of a turn. If you write that down, then I know that. And then if I would have come back today and said, well, I adjusted the truss rod way too far, where did I begin? If I don't know where I began, then I'm kind of in the dark. But I know that I adjusted it a quarter of a turn, so if it was out, then I would know, well, maybe half a turn, you know, maybe it needed that much, or maybe an 1/8 of a turn, you know, something like that. But if I don't know where I started, then it's hard for me to get that sweet spot of knowing what I needed to do. With the saddles, it's pretty easy because you're checking with the tuner constantly, so as you move forward or move back, it's pretty obvious if you're on the right path or not. If you hit this 12th fretted note and it's really, really sharp, on your tuner it'll show you pretty much how sharp it is on that tuner. You start turning the screw back here the wrong direction, it will just show that it's even sharper than it was. So then you know immediately, like, I went the wrong way, I need to turn it the opposite way to get it back to the direction I need it to go. That kind of stuff is kind of easy because the tuner will tell you what direction you need to go. Anytime you're adjusting anything, whether it's a guitar or something mechanical, it just makes good sense to make a note. And then once you start writing things down, then you start to kind of catalog in your mind how much it usually takes to get something done. Or it takes away your fear of irreparably messing it up. And when you have something you can fall back on, that's when you feel the most confident to try something that maybe you don't feel 100% comfortable with.